Welcome to The Good Work, a podcast and video series that follows The Event Company, an event design company that specializes in corporate, nonprofit, and social events. Our passion lies in creating one-of-a-kind events that share the good work of organizations we are fortunate to collaborate with. Tune in for conversations with leaders of these great groups, our best advice for your next event, and some behind-the-scenes moments. Now, let us show you the good work.
In this episode of The Good Work, you will be introduced to the event company, specifically President and founder Addie Graham-Kramer. You'll hear her background in event planning, the story of how the event company started, and even a few of her craziest event moments. Please join us in welcoming to today's podcast, Addie Graham-Kramer. Our fearless leader, Addie Graham-Kramer, with us today.
Good morning, you two. So
How
episode
exciting.
1, season 1, here we go.
It's so exciting.
I'm kind of excited that I'm your first guest.
Yeah. Us too.
Welcome
to your own office.
Yeah, welcome to my own office. Oh, this is awesome. That's awesome.
Well, let's get started right away.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm kind of nervous, though. What do you mean from the beginning? Gosh, I feel like
your story from the beginning.
Okay.
Let's hear about it.
Yeah.
How'd you get started in event planning?
Well, some of you may have seen pictures over the years when I do talks about event planning, but my first party was when I was 8 years old, my first public party, and I hosted this party at a little city hall in Central City, Nebraska. We rented out the venue. We had a DJ. We had catering. It was so much fun. Of course, I had to charge people to offset expenses. You know,
Yeah.
What else do you do when you're that young? My parents signed all the agreements and contracts, but it was so much fun. And I grew up that way. My mom and dad have always had fun parties for us, birthday parties. They had guests over to the house. So I kind of grew up that way. And then the corporate side of things, I was always in charge of planning events or part of the committees that were hosting events at companies that I'd worked for over the years. So that's really kind of how I got started, was when I was super young. But I've always liked to decorate things and make stuff look good as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, and working with people is incredible. So yeah, it kind of goes back to 8 years old. And back then, some of you, when I talk about that picture, have seen it. I had this big afro and I kind of look like Annie. So I saved up all of my babysitting money to get this perm. So it was just like, it was my money though, right? So it was one of my proud moments. 8 years old.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Is that picture going to make an appearance on social media?
Gosh, we might put it on this podcast. We'll see.
Ooh, We're all excited.
Gosh, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so it kind of starts way back in the day. And on the corporate side of things, I worked for the American Heart Association and the Argus Leader and did all these events, not only locally, but all over the country.
Right.
And it was so much fun. But my big thing is I wanted to be back home in Sioux Falls and kind of build our roots here. You know, I lived here, but I was gone 3 to 4 nights a week in other cities and other states, and just getting back here. And we launched the company in 2013. Here we are.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's been almost 5 years, which is so crazy
Wow.
to even think about all that we've done in 5 years.
No kidding. No kidding.
So my question is, how did you know there was a need in the market for what we do?
Yeah, good question. So, we did our own little research talking with the CVB. A couple of our friends worked at the convention center at that time. We had hospitality friends, and really they were pulling in other planners from other markets. So whether it was Chicago or Minneapolis or Omaha, or they were doing it themselves. I think that was the thing. And people knew who I was in the community from doing all these other events for other companies. And I felt really comfortable with it as well. So we launched, we price shopped around in other communities to see kind of where pricing and things was at. But, that's kind of how it happened. So yeah,
Cool.
just having conversations with people in the community.
So how did you decide on the event company and the name? And we have a slogan here that we'll say a lot probably, but we build dreams all the time. How did that come to fruition?
So funny. Okay, so I clearly remember, I have this notebook still, and we should probably try to find it because it's in the office. It's when I actually took notes on notebooks. Remember, like the girls know, like I just do not like notebooks at all. I'm so digital with things now. But back then I had a list of 27 different names. And I remember talking to my husband on the phone right before we launched, and I was at 41st and Marion area.
Okay.
And I remember sitting there at the stoplight thinking, gosh, why can't it be something simple like the event company? And that's how it happened, truly. Like there's no like scientific research and anything that we did whatsoever. And that's how it was made. So it was just super simple. And the We Build Dreams, came in September of 2014. We were at a conference in Las Vegas with another hospitality person in the community. And we were there and we were thinking, gosh, like we do some of the most amazing things. And we're a part of all these dreams that are being built and these fun experiences that people get to have. So why not call us dream builders? And that's how the We Build Dreams came to be. So we use it as our hashtag. Gosh, it's on our shirts. It's on our boards, everywhere that we do different things. So we always talk about We Build Dreams. And don't you guys think that that's what we do? I mean,
definitely.
Why do you think so?
I mean, I do just think of like the events, and a lot of people, it is like a dream. Like I have this idea that I've had for 5 years, and I can't make it happen myself, and that's where we step in. Yeah, and I don't know, it's the coolest thing to be a part of. There's something to be said about that moment when right before the event begins and you're taking a peek at the room and you see it all there. Yeah. And you do just feel like it's all like a dream.
All your hard work come together.
Yeah. That's the part that I love about what we do. I mean, and I always talk about this too, like the moment with the South Dakota Cattlemen's Foundation a few years ago when we had over 10,000 people in the Premier Center. And I talk about that moment when you step on stage and you get to see all these people that are around because of the work that you put into it with your client. Yeah. It's that same way when you step into a small dinner party and you see the beautiful work that we're a part of. So you're right, Callie. It is somebody else's dream. It's not just ours, but you're melding these two things together. And so we're dream builders.
For so many people, that's
what we do.
Just like us, our work is your life in a sense. You know, I think of when we did that small retirement party this winter and we were celebrating her whole life. Yeah, that had been dedicated to that organization. And like that was one even night. It was the smallest party, but it has such a big impact.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
That's where I love what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it makes my heart happy.
I know. I have like chills right now just talking about it.
I know. Isn't it awesome? Yeah. Yeah. We build dreams.
I love it. I love it.
So what is an average day for you?
Oh, Sarah, that's a hard question. There is no average day. I'm not average. No, I do not have. I would say I'm up early. Sometimes I'm either at the gym early or at night. It just kind of varies on what that looks like. But on Mondays, every Monday morning, we do a segment with KDLT. So we are there. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning, really, to be there on set by 6:30 in the morning so we can get ready and get going. But for the most time, I try to take my boys to school. The first couple of years of the business was really hard, and we were just so busy, and I was in the office at 6 o'clock in the morning and I didn't get home till 10 o'clock at night. It was super packed and busy. Over the last couple of years though, I've learned to kind of step back a little bit in that respect and delegate to you ladies. And now I take my kids to school. So right now we're in the midst of summer. So we've got summer camp every single day and I get a chance to take them to school. Not every day, it just kind of varies what we have in the mornings, but our days are packed with meetings, as you know. Mondays we try to do no meetings because that's our team day and kind of kicking the week off, which is great. But for the most part, it's different design meetings that we get a chance to be in. Site walkthroughs, like today, we are doing some site walkthroughs at the Pentagon with some of our vendors. There are times when we have different committee meetings. I mean, every day is so different. We eat lunch pretty much in the office. One of these days, we're going to schedule like a lunch out.
I know. People are surprised we don't really take a lunch break. We just keep working. And
do you remember, I don't know, maybe it was one of our interns, maybe it was our summer interns. They're like, so do you guys take lunches? And we're like, yeah, not really. But it's fun. I mean, it's not like we don't eat, people. I mean, we eat, but it's just a different, we just do when we need to do.
Well, it's tough because you just will have a like 11 o'clock meeting or a 1 o'clock meeting and you just kind of throw it in there whenever you can.
I agree. And our weeks are so different too. Like this week we have no nightly meetings. Last week I had a couple nights, you know. I remember talking to Callie when we were leaving on Thursday and I said, gosh, I haven't been home every night this week before 6 o'clock, you know. Yeah. Just because different meetings and things like that. But for the most part, that's kind of a day, if that makes sense. I try not to work when I'm at home with the boys until they go to bed. That's a big thing. So whether we go out, whether we go on a hike or do stuff outside or whatever, just chill and be with the boys. I think that's important too. And when those babies are in bed, it's the laptops back out. I kind of we kind of joke back and forth, Drew and I, sometimes because my husband also owns his own construction company. So you have two entrepreneurs in the room and he's sitting on one couch across and I'm sitting on the other couch and we both have our laptops up and all you hear is mostly from me. But for the most part, it's like, it's not super sexy at home when you have two entrepreneurs both running companies and working. I mean, that's sometimes our date, you know? Yeah. Drew and I do try to get out as much as we possibly can and do our own little dates as well. I think that's super important. Those first couple of years are struggles and any entrepreneur will always say that. So there were no dates at all. There was probably a lot of times where he wanted to probably kill me because it's hard those
Right.
first couple years, but now we are focused a lot on ourselves and family, which is good.
Right.
Yeah.
We try not to work Fridays, which is awesome. That's how we've
Yes.
been for several years. It's not just a summer thing. That's how it's been for a lot of times or a lot of years. And so we try to get out to the lake if we can, do different things with the family, lunch with my husband, whatever it looks like. So
Yeah.
good question. I wish there was a typical day though.
Yeah.
At the
Every
same
day's so
time, though,
different.
I just like that every day is kind of different.
Yeah.
Keep
That's what's good
things-
about this
yeah.
job is it's not always the same routine.
No, gosh, I would be the worst accountant or bean counter or whatever. Like I cannot sit in a cubicle. First of all, we don't. Maybe one of these days we'll give everybody a peek of what the office looks like, but we don't sit in an office. We have offices here. We have 2 offices, which have 2 desks and a whole little break room area, but we don't. I mean, we work so collaboratively together, and that big table is where so many things are done, and it's pretty awesome.
I love it though. Like it's one of my favorite things that I have a question.
I
I just
don't-
blurt
I-
it out, or like,
yeah,
Sarah and
it's-
I are working on something together, and it's so cool that we could just sit next to each
Yeah.
other
Right.
on the bench and
agree.
knock it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit on the bench and knock it out. We've moved. Our spots have moved over the years, like
I
where we
know.
each sit,
Yes.
which is kind
We
of
did-
funny.
I feel like at the start of summer, we all kind of like adjusted.
Changed.
Do you remember that day, Sarah, when I'm like, I think the chairs are a little bit more like higher or lower? Remember I said that? And they're
Yes.
like, nope, they're the same height. It just feels different, know? But yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Good question.
Speaking of, we go back a little bit,
Yeah.
but you're talking about Drew and both being entrepreneurs. What
Yeah.
advice do you have for an aspiring entrepreneur or aspiring event planner even?
Yeah. I think aspiring entrepreneurs, I always say find your tribe of people that are not like you.
Yeah.
I always talk about that because I have a tribe of ladies that are kind of in my group and none of them do event planning. And actually some of them are really horrible at it. So we look at each other though as a different resource because I can bounce ideas off of them and vice versa. One of them is in healthcare. One is like in IT. And it's just, they are so vastly different than what we do day in and day out. So I really found those ladies as my tribe, and I can go to them for literally everything and anything that I need to. Sometimes we're on hikes, sometimes we're on pedicures, sometimes we're just doing whatever we need to do. So I would say for an aspiring entrepreneur, find somebody who's not like you and be honest with that person and open with that person. They may eventually perhaps become a mentor to you in some sense, but it's nice to be surrounded by people that are not like you. So you can do bounce those different ideas off of each other, and you're not always hearing the same thing.
Right.
That's one piece of advice.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah. And being an entrepreneur, as you guys know, is not a clock in at 9 and out at 5 deal at all.
Nope.
Neither is event planning.
No. We work a lot of long hours. You're up so early. You're going to bed late.
Yeah.
You work a lot.
My goal, though, you guys, this last few weeks has been before 11 o'clock. I'm trying to get into bed before 11. Last night was 12:21. And it's only because I was on my phone. Like, I wasn't not working, but yeah.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
You'll get there.
Baby steps. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
So we talked a little bit about our office. Can you tell us where we're located and why you love it so much?
Yeah, we are in the heart of downtown Sioux Falls, which is phenomenal. So when I launched the company, the funny story is I launched it in my in-laws' house because we were in between house builds. So I was working another full-time job as well and launched the company on a Sunday night. 2 little kids running around crazy. We're living with my in-laws. We might as well have had a dog and a cat, but we didn't. There was so much chaos going on. And I worked from home for about 6 months or so. And then we moved into East Bank. So we are right near Prairie Berry or where the old Prairie Berry used to be in Queen City Bakery in the Crane Building, and loved it. And we spent the good probably 3 years or so in that space. But that space, you guys, I wish you could see it. I'm going to probably take you by sometime, like a little field trip, but it was 133 square feet.
Wow.
That is like smaller than our break room now. It's like a closet. And at one time, I remember Kimberly on our team said, gosh, everybody's like sitting around on the floor. We've got interns in this space over there. We had this desk that we are at right now is where we all were at, to be
Oh
honest.
my
This was the
goodness.
first piece of furniture that I purchased actually with my own money. As a company, these chairs, it was pretty awesome. So to see where we've come is pretty important. From super humble beginnings and for where we're at now. And I can't imagine doing our company anywhere else but in downtown Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
You guys always joke, actually, it's kind of funny, like when I'm walking down the street or when we're walking into coffee shops or whatever, like the people that we say hi to or that we know. And this is our community. And I can't imagine growing anywhere else because these people support us as well. A lot of them are small entrepreneurs. So we get a chance to be able to work with them. Some of them are clients too. Like yesterday, Callie and I walked right down the street because we had a meeting with one of our clients. And I think that's pretty important for a location and where we're at.
It's the beauty of Sioux Falls, I guess. It always kind of seems like the big little city of where we do have kind of big city amenities, but at the same time you come downtown, it's like its own separate community, not separate community, but community in itself that is so supportive of each other, and whatever it is that makes its way here.
I agree. And I think, I know you guys joke about it all the time. Like, you count the number of people that I say hi to. I know you think it's real funny. It's not a funny joke, but you think it's funny. But it's true. Like, we can't not walk, and it's the same for you guys too. I mean, we know so many people when you're walking down the street, and that's where I want to build our company. And that's why I think we've been so successful of where we're at, because this is our town and this is our community. And I will tell you, being back, like truly living here and every day for the last 5 years, it is such a great feeling, because this is the community that helps us grow and vice versa. So
I know, like,
I love being downtown.
Neither of us grew up here.
No.
But I mean, you kind of grew up coming here, all the time, but making the change and coming to college here, you feel it right away.
Yes.
And makes you want to stick around like us, And
we do events in other cities and other states, and it's so different. The feel is just not the same, Yeah. Sometimes it is, but it's not. I mean, when you're doing events in Chicago or North Carolina or wherever else, the feel is just different, Yeah. It's just different, but I love our headquarters here.
Me too.
We do too.
And we're not in 133 square feet. My gosh.
No.
Can you imagine? Our table's bigger than 133 square feet, I think. I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty awesome to see where we've come these last 5 years. Yeah.
So we'll get on another little bit more personal note.
Oh, gosh. Ooh.
When you're not event planning, what can you be found doing?
Oh, I love to hike. I'm big into hiking and kayaking and anything outdoors that I can do, which is so funny because when I grew up in the country. My dad's an agronomist. My mother had owned restaurants and bakeries all my life. And I hated like doing work outside. Like nobody liked, and it was more like work, not like getting outside. Because I was in softball and volleyball and all those things outside. But like pulling weeds and all those like horrible things of working on like living out in the country on a farm. But now I love being outside, and anything that we can possibly do and get outside and be out there is pretty awesome. We like to throw parties at our house too, which is, I mean, go figure, right? I like whatever.
Yeah.
But so we like to have a little parties every now and then, and we'll do game nights and get-togethers. But we built a house over on the east side of Sioux Falls a few years ago, and we ended up, my husband, as I mentioned, is a home builder, and we sold that house, and we actually bought the lot next to us because we absolutely love our neighborhood so much. So we all get together, though. We always kind of joke because the guys have like their own little private club, and they do their own little things, and we love our neighbors. So I think getting outdoors and doing anything out there with our neighbors or not.
You usually have a lot of little kiddos running around too.
Yeah, I love that part. So growing up in the country, 7 miles from town, like our nearest neighbor was over a mile away.
Yeah.
So I remember one time my brother and I, we rode our bikes all the way into town. And when you're riding like bikes with no speed things, 7 miles into town, do you know how long that takes you? It's horrible. A long time. And so we didn't grow up that way with all these kids at the house. And now it kind of gives me goosebumps to think like all these little kiddos are all over here, and you see all these piles of shoes because it's in and out, kids everywhere. And you've been at my house sometimes, Sarah, when there are so many kids coming in and out, but I love it. So I kind of feel like I'm that mom, it's so fun.
That's awesome.
And actually take time and breathe to do those things.
Yeah.
Like I took a picture, I think I snapped it to you girls the other day of Calvin and I were just on our hammock out on the porch, just singing along to the Greatest Showman soundtrack out in the hammock. And we do
love that soundtrack in our office too.
So it's so fun to just chill and just be, that's the key thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awkward. All right.
And here we
go. Here we go.
This is kind of so different for me to actually have you guys interview me versus the other way.
I know, kind of.
Yeah.
It's kind
so
of
I'm excited for
us
next week to be able to
flip the tables. All right, we'll get back to events.
Okay.
Dress. You're always in
dress
black.
Code.
What's the story behind
girls? Okay, I love black. Who does not love black? I'm surprised I'm not wearing black today. But
I know, I kind of am too.
You're in black, I can see.
I am.
But black in any event planning or in event production is pretty standard, typical dress, because you don't want to be walking down the middle of a room and you're in fuchsia. Be like, oh, look at that lady in the fuchsia dress. Oh my gosh, she's running around like a chicken with her head cut off. Like, they don't notice you as much when you're in black. But first of all, everybody looks good in black. That's the first thing, right? Do you agree?
Yes.
Agree?
Yeah.
Disagree?
Yeah, we can probably agree.
There's a lot of different accessories that you can add to black, which is important.
True, you can change it up.
Change it up. Lipstick, lots of lipstick colors, and it looks fabulous when there's fires that you got to put out because nobody is watching like the lady in the fuchsia dress, right?
You're right.
I think that's the key thing. So think of like the South Dakota Cattlemen's event just recently. We had script changes. You remember that?
Yep.
So you have 1,600 people in the room, and I'm having to literally run in the middle of 800 people on this side, 800 there, and kind of go up to the stage to try to get these people. And it's like I'm wearing black. So there's not this fuchsia lady running around in the
Yeah, I
middle of the
think
room.
I bought the black dress for my very first event.
Really?
Yeah.
I have so many black dresses.
I did buy one because I knew we were going to, you told me like when we interviewed, like, oh yeah, you're going to wear a lot of black. So I was like, well, probably should go and buy
black
something.
dress.
And I think since
It's kind of our
we
standard.
started, we probably have about 10 more black dresses.
Yeah. And people always joke with
Go
us
to
though
black
too. They call
dresses.
us like the mafia because we're always in black, dressed us similar. Like
It looks good.
Yes.
Looks
it
good.
does.
Black dresses are here to stay.
Yeah.
Good, because we have a lot of them.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. All right. Another thing for the events, we always talk about the impact and talk a little bit about that. The impact of the events, the money we've raised or help organizations raise.
Yeah, that I don't think I ever could imagine where we're at with those events. I love fundraising. I came from the fundraising event side of things and fundraising PR with events. And I could never imagine where we're at today with some of these events. And it's not, I always tell people, first of all, they think that all we do is just make things look pretty and you're picking out centerpieces and napkins. Oh. That is probably the smallest part of our job, to be honest with you. Of course, we design and we make things look good. But it's all these committees and all these groups that are raising millions of dollars. Gosh, we're over $6 million right now just in the last 5 years that we've had this company. And not that it's us that's beating the streets for these dollars. Some cases, we're a part of that. But in many cases, it's just our guidance and our help and just thinking kind of creatively and outside of the box of what other people do in other communities and other states to raise dollars. And it's the impact that we're having on these lives. I think of like the cattlemen's. I just mentioned that again, but like the protein that they're putting into the diets out in the community. We're talking over 270 ton of beef, And you think about the organizations like the Feisty Fighters that are providing money to pay for wigs for those who are going through cancer treatments. It's all these lives that we are a part of, which is so impactful. And I could have never imagined that's where we're at today. So part of this podcast is to really kind of showcase some of those individuals and groups that we're a part of. We always call it the good work. And it's not just things that we're doing for the good work, but it's them as well. So why not share their stories? And that's really the purpose of the good work, is to talk about the good work that we're doing, whether it's through birthday parties or maybe we'll provide some fun tips of maybe why you wear black dresses. Maybe we'll do a whole segment on it. But for the most part, it's just focusing on our clients and what they do, because we are a part of these dreams that they're building. But they have such a great, tremendous impact on the whole entire country. So that's really why I think the good work really was born and how it came to be.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And
It
I'm
is
excited.
awesome. Doesn't it give you goosebumps?
Yeah.
I'm excited for our guests to come in, like our clients,
Yeah.
and to get to share their story too,
Yeah.
because it is
sometimes
amazing.
through an event. I mean, you have an hour event or a couple hour event. You don't really get the full picture, right? Or the story. Yeah, like you're just saying. So these vodcasts hopefully will be able to kind of open and showcase what those clients do and the impact that they're having.
Yeah.
The good work. Gosh, we should talk about how we named this podcast. Remember all the names that we talked about? But it really is simple. It is truly the good work. That is what we do. Day in and day out. We do the good work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
sure.
we'll leave there. We'll end on that note.
Oh, gosh.
And leave you
That was
guys
fast.
for the next guest, and we'll talk more about the good work that we are a part of.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank
you
so-
for coming in today and letting us interview you.
Thank you for letting me sit on the opposite side of the table. Wow, this is pretty awesome.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So fun. Well,
Awesome.
thanks
You're
everybody
welcome.
for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of The Good Work. We hope you've enjoyed getting to know our fearless leader, Addie. Tune in next week as we turn the tables and get to know the groupies, Sarah and myself, and perhaps an intern or two will pop by. Don't forget to subscribe to The Good Work on YouTube and iTunes, and follow the event company on social media to stay up to date on the good work we are a part of each day.